Our in-depth coverage begins with Eyewitness News anchor Shannon Heggie, who joins us now live from Fall River Superior Court. Shannon?
Mike, this is where the drama has been unfolding since late January, when jurors first started hearing from dozens of witnesses and seeing hundreds of pieces of evidence related to the killing of Odin Lloyd. And no one's been following this trial more closely than Eyewitness News reporter Susan Campbell. Susan, you've been in the court every step of the way, including this morning when that verdict was read.
Yeah, when the court officer walked in and announced there was a verdict, there was a flurry of activity. The courtroom filled up. Aaron Hernandez was brought in, then the jury filed in. Then just moments later, that's when we heard that guilty verdict.
What say you, Madam Foreperson?
A $40 million tight end, now convicted killer.
Guilty of murder in the first degree.
When the verdict was read, former Patriot star Aaron Hernandez looked right at his fiancée Cheyenne Jenkins and his mother Terry Hernandez. The women crumbled into each other's arms, inconsolable, as Hernandez tried to lock eyes with them, mouthing, "I love you and it will be okay." Then Hernandez, looking straight at the jurors, appears to say, "Wrong." On the opposite side of the courtroom, Odin Lloyd's mother let out a deep breath, and as tears streamed down her face, her lips curled into the faintest of smiles. Then right before Aaron Hernandez was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, Ursula Ward stood up in front of the court and forgave her son's killer.
I forgive the hands of the people that had a hand in my son's murder, either before or after.
It took the jury nearly 36 hours to reach a verdict, finding Hernandez guilty on all 3 charges: murder in the first degree by extreme atrocity or cruelty, unlawful possession of ammunition, and unlawful possession of a firearm. Almost 2 years ago, Odin Lloyd's bullet-riddled body was discovered in this North Attleboro industrial park. Almost immediately, investigators zeroed in on Aaron Hernandez.
I'm asking you to look at the evidence.
Throughout the trial, prosecutors laid out evidence to prove Hernandez orchestrated the murder. During closing arguments, the defense admitted Hernandez was in the industrial park, but claimed one of Hernandez's alleged co-conspirators, Ernest Wallace or Carlos Ortiz, shot Lloyd in a PCP-induced rage. Both men have pleaded not guilty to murder charges and will be tried separately. Today, as Aaron Hernandez's attorneys left the courthouse, they refused to comment to all of us reporters.
Now, Susan, you can hear just in your descriptions of the reactions of everyone in that courtroom that you really get a sense of being in that courtroom every day, of seeing the tension in the trial. Kind of give us an idea of what it was like when that verdict finally came down, a verdict we've all been waiting for so long.
Yeah, so of course you could see that happening, unfolding, but it's hard to see the actual emotion and what it feels like. I can tell you there's really only one word to describe it, and that is intense. It felt so intense in that room. You could feel kind of the tension building. You could see Aaron Hernandez's mother and his fiance were holding hands. Same thing on the opposite side of the courtroom. You know, there's the tension between the 2 sisters on the 2 different sides of the courtroom, and it was just an intense, overwhelming feeling even after the verdict was read, with all of the tears, all of the emotion. It's just hard to wrap your head around what all of these families are experiencing at this moment.
And I imagine a lot of hectic actions happening as everything kind of ended and everyone starts leaving the courtroom, and you have the media just running out.
Absolutely. So there are 20 media passes. We were all up on the 5th floor in the courtroom, but then hundreds of other people around waiting for everything else to happen outside of the courthouse. So it was just a very, very busy day for a lot of people.
All right, Susan Campbell, thank you. We'll hear back from you at 6 o'clock.
First, let's go to my co-anchor Shannon Heggie. She's live outside Fall River Superior Court. Shannon?
Mike, in less than 2 years, Aaron Hernandez has gone from an NFL star with a $40 million contract to a convicted murderer sentenced to life behind bars. And no one has been following this story more closely than my colleague Susan Campbell. Susan, you've been here every step of the way. And new at 6, we're actually hearing from Odin Lloyd's mother on the case.
Yeah, right before Aaron Hernandez was sentenced, Ursula Ward forgave him. She stood up in court and said she forgives the people who played a part in her son's death. Then she came outside and spoke with us. She told us how much she misses her son every single day. Aaron Hernandez is guilty, convicted of killing Odin Lloyd nearly 2 years ago.
Guilty of murder in the first degree.
Hernandez, looking straight at the jury, appears to say wrong as his fiancee Cheyenne Jenkins and his mother sobbed in each other's arms. The women left the courthouse before the former Patriot star was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. On the other side of the courtroom, Odin Lloyd's loved ones also wept.
My son Odin was the most precious gift in my life. I'm gonna miss his smile.
Lloyd's body was discovered in this North Attleboro Industrial Park on June 17th, 2013, the day after Father's Day.
On Father's Day, I'm going to miss the best words. Happy Father's Day, Ma. I've been his mother and father all his life. On that Sunday, I had just came from church and my son saw me. He says, Ma, you look so beautiful today. I love those colors on you. And those were the last words I heard from my son.
In addition to the first-degree murder conviction, the jury also found Hernandez guilty of 2 firearms charges. His alleged co-conspirators, Ernest Wallace and Carlos Ortiz, will be tried separately. Today, Ursula Ward also told us she has received cards and letters from people around the world. Today, she thanked all of those people for their support during what she calls a nightmare for her family, Shannon.
You know, we've seen so many different dynamics play out in this trial. You know, the dynamic of the Lloyd family, the dynamic of the Hernandez family with his cousins. And we've also seen the dynamic between Cheyenne Jenkins and Shania Jenkins. Very interesting because you have one sister on one side of the courtroom with Odin Lloyd's family. You have another sister on the other side of the courtroom with Hernandez's family.
And Shania Jenkins has been there every step of the way with Odin Lloyd's mother. She's been in the courtroom holding her hand. She has been standing out there when she was addressing the media afterwards. Shania Jenkins was there, and Odin Lloyd's sister actually even said that she feels like Shania Jenkins is one of her own sisters. She said they hang out together, they travel together. She loves her like family, and they said that that bond has been made even stronger by this trial. And though Shania Jenkins was standing there, she did not want to answer any of our questions.
And you really didn't see the two of those sisters interact at all through this trial, right?
Never once.
Okay. Susan, thank you for your exceptional coverage throughout this trial.